Boom. Good morning, everybody. We are excited. It's going to be a good show. We're going to have an awesome day. I got 15 seconds left, and then we're going to go on the FM as well. It's Tuesday, so you know what that means. We got Dr. Aaron Chapa hanging out with us in studio, where we're going to be learning about gut health, anxiety, depression. What can you do? Good morning. This is KHEA Radio. It's 8:40. I'm Gardy. We got Dr. Aaron Chapa in studio talking about, well, health, wellness, living well. How you doing, Dr. Chapa?
I'm doing fantastic, my man. I'm glad to be here as usual. It's so good to be on the air with you. And it's always a interesting day-to-day activities that go on in one's world. You know, you never always can predict how things plan out. But this time, it kind of opened up the way I think it should have. This is a test of, the game that I play. And, you know, I really last week kind of wanted to continue this conversation around anxiety and depression and things that people are dealing with day to day. And would you believe this? Like I wake up this morning and I'm like, I can't find my wallet.
It
you
happens.
Ever had that feeling?
You know, I've had that happen with my car keys most recently, and it is the worst. And I had traveled from the airport, right?
Yeah,
and I was
always
like,
something.
Did I take my car keys with me to wherever in the world I was, and now they're there forever?
Yeah, and that's the thing. So I went on a trip this weekend, so I'm all packed up, and I'm gone all weekend long. I did a good job of, keeping up with everything, and get back home, I settle in, thinking life's, working out really well. I feel excited. I learned some new cool stuff this weekend, and then I turn around and I, get up and hit the gym yesterday morning. I even go to Main Squeeze and buy up some, good healthy juices, some wheatgrass shots, and got me a smoothie. And I'm just like, I'm kicking it. I'm thinking, I got this. And then yesterday evening, I go, I must have left my wallet in the car. But I just locked the door, whatever. And I'll say, I'll get it in the morning. No big deal. And go to the gym this morning, kind of fumble around. I don't see it. Man, maybe I did leave it at home, And so I'll go back home and I start scrounging around for it again and looking. And here I am. I'm still now about 12 hours into the search, and I've already been back by the office this morning. I left early to make sure I got here on time, and I'm scrambling around, and the only thing that's on my mind is, what'd I do with my wallet? And did I really lose it? And if I really lost it, is it going to come back to me? And so God's always been good to help me find it, even when I've lost it.
Did
for
you
2 or
find
3
it?
days.
Wait, do you have your wallet right now?
I don't have it. I still don't have it.
So we need to put out like a search for it.
That's right. Here's the 411. Chapa needs his wallet.
Man.
But here's the thing. This is where a set of healthy adrenal glands, and the adrenal glands are a really cool system in your body that live on top of your kidneys. So they're on the back side of your system, of your anatomy. You're right above your kidneys. If you were to put your hands on your back, like your palms on your back, you would feel your kidneys. And then there's like these little top hats that kind of look like something out of Robin Hood, these little V hats. And that's your adrenal glands. And your adrenal glands regulate how well you're going to deal with the stress that you're dealing with. And so I get excited about the fact that I got tools to help my mind deal with, the current stresses of the world. And I want to share that with people. I want people to know that there are options for them, that they don't have to walk around, and this is just an acute stress. This isn't something that is going to last forever. And this isn't something that's going to really spark or drive anxiety. I mean, I guess it could if somebody, actually did have my wallet, and then, I start seeing charges and I have to go through all the rigmarole of all that, right? That would be a little bit longer of an acute battle, but it would still be acute, meaning it's short-lived. And it's just more of a pain in the tail than it is something that is going to be chronically stressing my mind day in and day out for the next week.
So I see a lot of stuff in front, including some stuff from Main Squeeze. What are we looking at here?
Yeah. So I just brought in some different things that I wanted to reference this morning in talking about adrenal health to feed the tissues and to feed the body. And so, I mean, we're kind of like loaded up. So just from a standpoint of what I picked up from Main Squeeze, I picked up this youth product, and it's a carrot product, pineapple, lime, and turmeric. And, turmeric is a rage right now because it has so many metabolic benefits in the body. It has the ability to, downregulate cortisol, which is, again, why I brought it into the show this morning, because in cortisol is a primary hormone driver produced by, guess who? Your adrenal glands. And, if the adrenal glands are healthy, you'll get a lift in, cortisol or adrenaline when you need it, but it'll also come back down in a healthy way. And it's whenever it stays up long term that it's a problem. And things like turmeric systemically, that means throughout the whole body, can decrease inflammation in the body. And if we can decrease inflammation in the body, that's one less biochemical stress that our adrenal glands have to monitor and keep up with. And so you can have inflammation like if you sprained an ankle, and that's a good thing, but you don't want long-standing inflammation running around all aspects of your system, especially things like your heart or things like your stomach, and things that could alter the way you circulate nutrition around through the arteries and veins, and or from the way you assimilate food from your digestion or from what you're eating and putting in your body. So this product's just a really neat product to help regulate cortisol in the body, decrease inflammation. And turmeric's another one of the powerful things about turmeric that people don't quite realize or appreciate is that turmeric can increase your body's metabolic brown fat reserve, which brown fat sounds like, oh no, we're afraid of fat, we hate fat, right? And so what I want to tell people is there's two types of fat in your body. There's brown fat, that's the metabolically active fat, and that's the kind of fat that we want more of because that will help you burn a hot, strong metabolism day in and day out.
So I'm Hispanic and I have brown skin. Does that mean like all my fat is brown?
I love your thinking. I wish it was like that.
No,
because symmetrically, like from the outside, we all look relatively similar. We have two eyes, we have two ears, we have a nose, two nostrils, a mouth, and two arms, two legs, if we're thankful and that we have these. Right. But inside the body, we look, there's different layers to us, and it's not like that. I don't even know that it's really brown per se. It's just they call it brown fat to differentiate that it is a metabolic engine as opposed to like the white fat, which is your stored fat. That's the stuff that no one really likes and everybody's afraid of, and
trying to lose.
Vanity magazine's talking about how to lose it, and so we've got to really recognize fat is a very powerful piece of our healthcare, and without an adequate amount of good healthy fats in our diet, your adrenal glands can't produce healthy hormone.
That's what I've heard whenever it comes to diet and nutrition is like macros, your fats, your carbs, your proteins, and having a balance of those. But you need fats, and we've been branded for so long. Fat is bad, low fat, no fat, stay away from high fat stuff. But we actually need some of that stuff for a diet is what we're finding out.
There's no doubt about it. And it's interesting. Back in the late 70s, early 80s, there was a shift in the USDA food pyramid to decrease the fat macro consumption load 5%. I mean, not even a lot. But that 5% reduction in macros change the dynamic of people's hunger patterns. And when you take fat away, because fat is very satiating, it's very, it leaves you feeling full or like fulfilled or satisfied.
Right.
And, it takes approximately 25 minutes for your brain to get a response that you have eaten something. And so we have to there's so many things to keep in mind because we've just become such a fast food nation that we are like gobbling and swallowing and not even chewing food sources anymore. We're just like throwing things in our mouths to and hope something sticks, so to speak, and nourishes us. But we don't realize that the things that we're putting in our body are loaded with processed fats, and these processed fats can not leave you satisfied. They'll actually leave you inflamed. And we're living in a world where we're seeing inflammation go up. We're seeing key vital macronutrients going down, and people are afraid of fat because nobody wants to be fat. But they don't realize fat will help you stay healthy if you understand how to play its game, especially when it comes to adrenal function. And I didn't bring any. I wish I would have. But I'm glad you have the cod liver oil this morning because this is a healthy source of good fats that you can put into your body as a maintenance. We need the label says a teaspoon a day. We need, which is 1 cap. We need 3 caps twice a day. It's a tablespoon, because I've never seen anybody walk in my office that had a healthy, adequate dose of good omega-3, omega-9s in their body, much less just taking this. But I'm telling you, people feel this product, cod liver oil, instantly within a week or two. Inflammation starts going down in their body. Their joints start feeling better. Their digestion is better. And it's as simple as, this little capsule.
And it tastes good and it smells good.
Yeah.
My dad went and got some the other day.
And how do you like it?
He loves it. He was like, man, this stuff's good. He got a couple, because he always, he's big on, hey, I need to, multivitamins, take care of myself as I get older, and, aches and stuff that you feel, later on in life. And so he's always trying to take care of himself. And so he stopped in and he got a 1, 2, 3 of, everything that y'all had recommended there, and he's enjoying it.
Yeah. And I would say that, like, simply put, this is the easiest product a person can take, but it's also the first seemingly product that people forget to take, and I don't know why that is, and I try to always just go back to it, and I do these little tests in the office to show people that their fat levels are still low, and you have reflexes all throughout your body. It's like we're a giant circuit board, and I can figure out where the body's weak, and then I can oftentimes find and correlate, a good healthy dose of fats as a potential remedy in your health journey. And this is the other thing, guys, you got to realize when we're dealing with, stress and anxiety, we have to realize, because, I read like 3 different books on anxiety. I looked at some YouTube videos, just trying to see what the world is talking about with respect to, stressors and anxiety and depression. And it really fascinates me, because we don't ever really talk about, like the very few people were talking about the gut-brain connection. And the healthy microbiology in your digestive tract has to be rich in order to break down and to assimilate and to absorb nutrition, so that you can give yourself a fighting chance. Because you could be eating the best quality food but not digesting it well, and in a sense, cellularly, you're still starving. And so that's a weird paradox, right? It's like I'm eating, Chop. I'm putting in the food that you're telling me to put in, but I'm not. But you don't realize you're not absorbing it, and that's why you're not getting the result that you want. And that could be for a multitude of reasons, because your body. There's 3 different types of stresses, when I think that everybody would agree with. There's a structural stress. That's like just the demand of labor. Like my dad always said, your mind will outlast your body any day of the week, so use more of your mind. And so physical labor can be a stressor. And if you're not getting good quality sleep, that affects your mental state and your physical state, because you're not resting and healing from yesterday. You're going into a sleep cycle hoping to get recovery, and you wake up sleep deprived. And then you have to repeat, wash and rinse yesterday, and your body just continually goes down this degenerative tract, and your body never gets a handle on health, and all of a sudden now physically your body is wearing out. And then we've got mental stress. That's the stress where life is happening all around us. The great circle never seems to stop, right? It just continues.
The train don't stop.
No, the train doesn't stop. And and this is, I notice when I'm watching patients grieving for loved ones that have gone to be with the Lord, or that are dealing with tragedy, or that are dealing with just the starting a business and dealing with the day-to-day stresses of what it takes to grind through building the foundation of a good business. And so I start watching the mental agony that people go through, and they don't realize that is physically and mentally is taking a toll on their mineral base, which is why I brought in some minerals to talk about here in a bit. And you got some too, it looks like. And it's like a little, and that's how important it is. It was in something I must have recommended to you.
You did, and I wondered what the min, because it was like reacted multi-min, and I was like, what is a min? Mineral.
Yeah, mineral, sense. Yeah. And so, really fascinating, the game of minerals, and when it comes to our mental state, our physical state, and then our last stressor zone is our emotional state. And so you can be mentally taxed to the point where your fuse is just short, right? And then your kids say something that just rubs you the wrong way, and you snap, and you're like, oh, I snapped at somebody that I love dearly, and I flew off the handle to my wife or my husband or whatever, and so this stuff happens, and we tend to let our guard down when we're with those that we love, and that's when we kind of start seeing everything start breaking down, when our fuse has just withered away to such a point that we're short fused. So these are kind of some of the symptoms that people deal with. They go to bed tired, they wake up tired. That's a sign that you're stressed. And this is what I'll tell you. The difference between fatigue and tired is fatigue is not relieved with rest, but tired is relieved with rest. You go to bed, you wake up feeling refreshed, and you're able to tackle the day. When you go to bed, you should be getting between 4 and 5 sleep cycles a night. That's approximately 6 to 7.5 hours of sleep. But no one really knows how much of the stuff that we need, sleep being the stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And so all I can tell you is you need to be going to sleep. You need to be sleeping through the night. If you're waking up to pee in the middle of the night, if you're waking up to stare at the ceiling during the night, those are biochemical stressors that are driving that symptom. And that's a check engine light that you can pay attention to know that your body's not getting the rest and restoration that it needs. And it's going to leave you more potentially vulnerable to anxiety. It's going to leave you more potentially deprived and start to feel overwhelmed with life and lead to depression. And we've got to get a handle on some of these symptom patterns because we can see the handwriting on the wall, so to speak. And if we can see the handwriting on the wall, we interrupt the pathway long before it becomes a true disorder. And so you can have symptoms of anxiety but not really have anxiety. You can have symptoms of depression and like have a day where you're just a little down and not be depressed. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. It's whenever these symptoms mm-hmm. are continually going forward and they're not ever like releasing their grip on our day-to-day activity. And I have patients that come in a state, and this is where I really see it after a female has gone and had a baby, that development process of the child, would you agree, is stressful probably? I mean, you're growing a human.
Chelsea, well, this is after they were grown. She said, try weaning twins. I'm exhausted.
Yeah, absolutely.
Being a mom in general.
Being a mom in general is one of what they say. It's a thankless task. You never get enough thank yous, and it's very selfless, right? Mm-hmm. Where you have to die to self every day and serve these little ones. And for all the moms out there, my prayers with you, my love is with you. Like I get it. Like I watch my wife, with 4, and I think about my life with 4 kids, how much I love it, but also how much I recognize it's work. And I remember when we said, we wanted 4 kids, right? But saying you're going to have 4 kids and actually having 4 kids are 2 very different conversations.
I got 2 kids, and it's a lot of work. And then you double that,
and some people go, "Oh, it's just zone defense." Once you can get past 2 and you can get to 3, you can handle it. Like 1, going from 0 to 1 was very stressful for the Chopster. Like I had a struggle with that, and I mean I did not handle it well. And Kinley was an absolute, wonderful. Like she's my angel. Like no doubt. Like I but as a baby, she cried a lot. She did not sleep well. And but this was also when we found out that my wife had a lot of biochemical stressors that were creating problems in her body, which probably affected, the nutritional status of her and my daughter, in the womb, which then took another level of stress on my wife's adrenal glands.
Here's a question that we had. It just came on our Facebook page. If you have a question, feel free to ask that as well. She said, do you notice postpartum anxiety present in mothers just based on hormonal imbalances and sleep deprivation? Do you see it self-correct, or do you recommend supplements for it? So that's a good question. Thank you. If you have some more questions, feel free to keep those coming.
Yeah, so thank you for the questions. I love answering questions, and that's why I'm here on the radio show, guys. Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center has set out to find the underlying cause of all disease, and it coming onto the show and being more present in the community, teaching. Tonight we have a fantastic lecture on the foundations of health, talking about different diets, talking about the power of simplicity and making good healthy choices and how to start this health journey. And I love being here with you on KHEA Radio because it gives me an opportunity to share a positive message that people are looking for answers, and people don't realize that there is an answer. So do I see postpartum, and if I recall the question correctly, let me just want to make sure I get it. Postpartum right after pregnancy or delivery is quite common, and here's why. And so great segue into today's topic, which is adrenal and anxiety depression. And so the adrenal glands, when mom is unhealthy prepartum, like before she delivers the baby and in the developmental stage, she is deficient in nutrients. Her adrenals were potentially tired before she even got pregnant, and her body starts mooching, literally pulling energy from the baby's adrenal glands. So she feels typically okay during the pregnancy state. And then once the baby's unplugged from her mom can't mooch on those adrenal glands anymore. And I know that sounds really crazy, but this is why what we see is if mom feels a lot of stress in the world when the baby's in the womb, the baby perceives the world to be a stressful place. If mom is in a very loving state, and there's good things going on, good vibes. This is why mindset's always important. And that the baby in the womb will feel every bit of mom's good vibes towards the world. If mom is eating a truckload of carbohydrates, the baby in the womb will perceive there to be a lot of sugars in the world, and the baby will start programming itself to have insulin-resistant issues once it gets out in the world. I mean, this is just fascinating how much mom and baby are so intricately integrated, connected and communicating via, the lines that God has given us to build this child in the womb. And so once the baby comes out and mom doesn't have the baby to pull adrenal energy from, mom crashes because mom hasn't been taught or didn't know how to take care of herself when she was building the child and or postpartum. And so now when mom crashes, what I have to do is I have to get blood sugar stable in the mom, and we have to supplement the adrenal glands to build the adrenal glands up, sometimes to the extreme where we literally have to put desiccated adrenal tissue in the body, which is a supplemental form. Thankfully, you don't have to eat adrenals. Isn't that nice? And I'm like, what?
I try it.
Yeah. But the adrenal glands are a must. And I have taken some of the most extreme postpartum cases and seen them completely turn around with just feeding the adrenal glands, feeding and balancing the blood sugar to the mom's diet, and all of a sudden we see a mom that was crashing or completely ridden with anxiety start to stand upright, start to feel like she can tackle the world again. She starts seeing changes in the quality of her sleep and her recovery. And, it's always interesting to watch because kids don't always sleep well, and that's always a stressor physically and mentally to the body. And which can then drive, emotional stress. It's like each one of these stressors can feed into the next stressor in some respect, and it can be this perpetuating negative cycle down the spiral slope. Well, if we can interrupt that with good food, good nutrition, and I would say good food is relative. I mean, what's good food today? We go to health food stores hoping to find good food. Go to grocery stores to find we're not sure, and it's kind of weird. And but we have to start learning again what is real food out there. And we always want to teach people what is real food. What are your inflammatory foods that are making you biochemically sick? And so when a mom comes in, there's a lot to her conversation. We need to hear her story. And so we always want to hear the history. We want to get in there and we want to find out hey, where have you been? What's been happening? What have you done to try to fix it? What's working? What's not working? And then we start building a case to crack her case. And all of a sudden, she starts turning the corner, and her breast milk is more rich, and the baby's getting better quality breast milk. Mom's feeling more robust and energetic, and her quality of life is getting better. And then her recovery from building the baby is faster. And so postpartum is a form of anxiety. It's just after the baby's come out of the womb, and it's primarily because mom didn't have a healthy adrenal system on the front end, and she mooched on the baby during, and then she lost her, and she didn't heal the adrenals while that was happening, and then she had no mooching capacity because there was nothing there to mooch from.
It's 9:05. This is KHEARadio.com, 99.5 FM. So what can they do? So if you had that postpartum, it's already set in and it's here. Is there a way that you can supplement that, or should they just not do anything and just like go on? Hey, it'll regulate itself here in time.
It most of the time will not regulate itself because, again, that negative perpetuating cycle just spirals down. So now the baby's not sleeping well through the night because he's mineral deprived, or he's teething, or he's got a little cold or infection, or he's just nursing on you all night long, or whatever, or sleeping in your bed and kicking and thrashing. Which is a sign, by the way, if that's happening with your child, that the baby is minerally deprived. We've got to put minerals into the body. Minerals are literally like a power outlet. Without healthy amount of minerals, your adrenals will not function well, and your body will be left in an acidic state. When your body is left in an acidic state, your pH is your inflammation rates go up. So you're literally just stuck in this negative cycle where now if you could fall asleep, you can't, because your mind just doesn't, your body doesn't have the tools to downregulate stress. And so we supplement heavily with minerals. This reacted multimin is one mineral that I use on most every patient in some respect at some point, because who doesn't need a little juice to be plugged into the system so that the body performs better? And then we follow it up with this great product here, Adrenamin and or Adaptocrine. And you can play with these, and you can even try some of the Adaptocrine that's open. And
how many should I take?
2.
Two.
2's a good start. And what's in there is there's betaine HCl, which helps to break down and digest the food. So if you have poor digestion, you can absorb it better. And then there's several herbs. Holy basil being a great one that downregulates that hormone we talked about earlier called cortisol. And that is, again, an adrenal hormone that when your adrenal glands are up, talking about stress and anxiety, will notoriously be there if cortisol doesn't go down. And so we want to see about getting that down, and holy basil can do that. Ashwagandha is another powerful herb that's in this product. And what the ashwagandha does is it basically nourishes the adrenal glands. And then when you come in behind that with something like Adrenamin, this is going to have the B vitamins. This is going to have the water-soluble vitamins like vitamin C. This is going to have an adrenal extract in it, not the desiccated adrenal we spoke of earlier when we have extreme cases of postpartum or anxiety. Because, again, postpartum is a form of anxiety. I really want to get that message across. And the adrenal glands have to be healthy to defeat and overcome anxiety and or depression. But all of this has to work won't work if we don't have what? A healthy digestive tract. So we have to go back to the concept that we talk about every week, which is what? What you eat's important.
But what you don't eat is more important.
That's right. And this is why I find that, diets of any kind work for a lot of people, because most diets agree that sugar is good or bad.
The sugar is bad.
Yeah, why? It feeds what number one disease that nobody wants? The big C word.
Cancer?
Yeah.
Speaking of diets, we did have a question earlier, and they were asking us specifically about keto. And, while you
keto
bring up
and anxiety?
Diets, well, yeah. And then is keto just a good option as well?
Yeah. So, there is a craze of diets available for people, and that's awesome. Look at the ingredients in that. It's got myrrh in there. Calendula in there. It's a fantastic throat-soothing product, especially since you sing. Just as a quick aside, you should spray that before you go up on stage.
Relax.
You'll increase circulation, and so it's a way of warming up the back of your throat. And it does. It puts a soothing, relaxing, to the musculature in the back of your throat.
I feel better already. I'm back.
But talking about keto can be a tool, and I want you to look at diets like a tool also, because diets are going to provide what? Nutrition, macros, carbs, fats, and proteins into our diet. And keto's a higher fat, lower carb diet tool that is great in our society. And I'll tell you why it's great. Because most people are walking around craving what?
Sugar.
Sugar, and sugar in multiple forms. Because just in bread, rice, cereal, pasta, potatoes alone, the average American is consuming 100 to 150 pounds of sugar per person per year, just in the carbs, like in the starches.
That's not the candy and sweets or nothing.
No, but when you add cookies, candies, cakes, ice cream to the mix, guess what happens?
It probably doubles.
It doubles. It goes almost to 300 pounds of sugar per person per year. And so the reason a paleo diet or a keto diet can be so effective is because you're taking sugar and carbs out, and you have one hormone that regulates sugar in your body. Do you know what it is? Or it brings it down, called insulin. And so when insulin is too high for too long, the cells become resistant to it. It's almost like, you don't, even though you know you have clothes on, do you know, until I bring it up right now, that can you feel that you have 2 layers of clothes on right now?
Not necessarily.
No, you can't. And so you just become kind of numb to it. And so you're becoming numb to the insulin's effect on the cell at the cellular level. And so now sugar in the blood wreaks havoc. It wreaks havoc on the blood, the walls of your arteries. It wreaks havoc in your digestive tract. I got a document that's 146 different ways that sugar can wreck your health, so to speak, from Nancy Appleton's book, Lick the Sugar Habit. And, and I go back to this simple all the time, is that, sugar is, in this society, a drug. It's an addictive drug, the most addictive, and people are like searching for it, inkling for it, dowsing for it. I mean, it's amazing how people can find in their cupboards, hidden chocolate and hidden candies to curb a sweet craving.
My kids can.
Yeah, and that's just pure dopamine, man. I mean, that is like your body looking for that instant gratification, that satisfaction. And the reality is if a keto diet it will focus you for 30 days, if a paleo diet will focus you for 30 days, if a Whole30 diet will focus you for 30 days to decrease the carb onslaught, if it will decrease the sugar, attack that you've been putting in your body for years, all of a sudden great things will start happening just with diet alone. I had a guy come in. He'd started keto before he even started in my office, and 3 weeks, 33 pounds. 3 weeks. Now, he had weight to lose, mind you. And so you're not going to lose that kind of weight if you don't have that kind of weight to lose. If I was 100% keto, I would not, drop to 140 pounds. That would be terrifying for everybody, probably. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be walking like a skeleton. And but if you have weight to lose, using diets as a tool is absolutely paramount, because food, by definition, in the Webster's Dictionary, is to nourish and strengthen and revitalize tissue. If it doesn't strengthen, nourish, and revitalize tissue, that's how you determine what is food. So my kids and I will go around, and I'll say, guys, is this food? And they'll say, oh, yeah, this is Main Squeeze. We love Jeff and Tabitha. We know that they got good quality. They don't even pasteurize this stuff, which means it's not heat treated. So you're getting the enzymes that God intended for you to get, the biophotons that God intended you to get as soon as you crack the lid and start sucking it down. But we'd walk past some of these fast food chains, and I'd say, does that place have real food? And they say, well, we don't know. We've never been in there. And I'm like, good answer. And it's like a test. I can find out if if grandparents have been sneaking them over to different places and whatnot, and I can see where they're hitting. And I said, and they go, why do people eat there? And I said, well, I don't know. They just like eating plastic. I don't realize it, but a lot of the substrates, like the 4 deadly food additives, monosodium glutamate, which is MSG, is a known neurotoxin. It is a known poison, right? And yet we voluntarily just put it in our bodies. It's on multitudes of spices that you're spicing onto your food right now, probably for breakfast or a mid-morning snack or even lunch when it comes around. If you go out to eat, you're going to get partially hydrogenated oil, which is poor quality oil that will stress out your digestive tract, stress out your adrenals, and stress out and clog up your liver.
My wife asked me last night, does Dr. Chopper really live that way all the time? I said 100%.
So so just to kind of tell you how crazy I am, I guess I'm this way because I've gotten here, right? Like I know what it feels like to feel good, and I'm addicted to feeling good, right? Mm-hmm. I don't want to have. Who wants to have a headache? Smash the like button if you don't want a headache. Like if the headaches are no good, if headaches are no fun, smash your like button. And who wants a headache? Who wants to be mentally fatigued going by 10 o'clock in the morning or by lunchtime, and you're wishing that you could go ahead and go home and crawl back in bed? Who wants to be at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and wishing they could get to 5 o'clock because they got like, how am I going to get through the next 2 hours? But guys, these are the symptoms that people are coming in with all the time. So I go to a seminar. I leave on Wednesday night, okay? I have an ice chest in the back of my car. I got to meet my family out in the Woodlands, and we had a fish dinner and a Papa Do's or something like that. I didn't eat the bread. I literally had squash and they use real butter there. I was really excited to find out, and a redfish or something. Okay, and that's all I had. I didn't have much. I just my wife and I split it even. It was half a redfish and half a serving of the butternut squash, and that's what I had for dinner. And then I drive from there to Dallas, and I get to Dallas about 11, and I go to bed. Wake up the next morning. I have a couple of juices, a juice from Main Squeeze. I have all my supplements, and I have guacamole, pico de gallo, and a cucumber. That was my breakfast, all out of my ice chest. And then at lunch I had a few pieces of chicken, a rotisserie chicken that I had made, and that was my lunch. That was maybe guacamole or something. And I literally lived on vegetables, juices, and supplements every day when I was in Dallas. I didn't have one out to eat meal the whole time, and I was really proud of myself because it can be done. Even the 2 weekends prior, when we went to the Hill Country, we went to a little place up there and hung out for a few days at a hotel. I had an ice chest. I didn't eat the powdered eggs in the morning at the breakfast stand, even though it was free. Sometimes free is not good. You know what I mean?
It's free for a reason. Maybe.
It's free for a reason. Because
did you bring ice chest today?
I do have an ice chest with me right
What's
here.
in there?
I mean,
is that food just in case, or all your supplements?
It's just mostly just the supplements and some juices and stuff like that.
I got you with the juice.
Yeah, and I like it to stay cold and stuff like that. And I don't never know where my day's going to end. So I've learned to be prepared, and that's what another secret to your health journey is, just being prepared.
Yeah.
And you're probably saying, well, we heard the front of the show. You're not that prepared, Chubby. You lost your wallet. No, that's true.
But you did not lose your supplements.
I know. I never lose my supplements. That's amazing.
We had a text in that was a question that was texted in, and you can text in as well, 346-704-1806. This says, I started taking adaptogen supplements of a different brand, but sometimes I still feel down after a few days. It's like my body wants to be depressing, but I don't want to feel that way. It's literally like a struggle. My mind, body, and emotions are battling. It's stressful, so I was wondering, why does it do that? What can I do to help it not feel that way? Maybe increase the supplement by one for a few days, because on most other days I feel I feel good in different ways.
Yeah, so so now you're listening to your body, right? So you have to look at the days when you crash. Why? Did you crash because you didn't get a good night of sleep? Did you crash because maybe you had a few cheat items the day before? Or maybe it's coming in, from the weekend into the weekdays, and so now you maybe anxiety of things coming, like maybe you got a final, if you're testing. Maybe you've got a big business meeting. Maybe there is, something that just popped up on your notifications phone, like, you had something happen and you have to address it, a banking issue of sorts. I mean, there's a multitude of reasons that can throw your adrenal glands into a state of, ramped up nature, and you've got to be able to use your tools. And so let's say your diet is really clean and you're thinking, all right, I haven't been on this adaptogen product very long, but I do notice I feel better. Okay, well, did you forget to take it yesterday? Like some days, I noticed that if I need my brain to be sharp, I'm more disciplined and diligent about taking my supplements more frequently, sometimes even every 2 hours or even every hour. I remember a time when I was running 2 different businesses, and I was literally working all day and then working all night, and working all day and then working all night, and I was literally like that epitome of living on coffee and things that you shouldn't be looking for rocket fuel. Like, you should enjoy a 5 ml, less than a teaspoon of coffee to lengthen the telomeres in your body, maybe, but not drinking cups and cups of it to get going. That's another check engine light. And so you could take more of your adaptogen products. I have another product here called Adaptogen. Hey, how funny. And adaptogens basically means, for those out there that don't know about herbs or questioning herbs, what adaptogens do is adaptogens allow your body to ramp up if it needs to be ramped up, or calm down if it needs to be calmed down. So if you're in an over hyperactive state, your body will calm down and cool down and feel better. If you're low and depressed, it'll lift you up. And this will help balance out sex hormones as well. So you could also look at, say, all right, well, where am I at if you're a female in the time of my month? Am I ovulating? Am I about to start menses? I mean, what's going on in my body that could be stressing my adrenal glands out, that I need more tools? I need a better diet. I need better balanced blood sugar. I need better supplementation, more frequent supplementation. Guys, the days of just taking a one a day never existed, because we don't eat once a day. Can we agree? And I would say that I wish I could just take one thing a day and call it good. That would make it easy.
Touches everything.
Magic
pill.
And I think the closest thing to it is the cod liver oil, and that's not even. I'm telling you, take more than one a day. I'm taking a tablespoon twice a day, in the morning and in the afternoon or the evening, because you want to give your body the gusto to get through the day, and then you want to give your body the tools to heal and recover during the night.
Should I take some of these right now?
Totally, man.
It says take three soft gels.
Yes, 3 soft gels, and you do it twice a day, and it will literally touch every tissue, cell, organ, gland in your body. It's a wonderful, powerful way to turn on your essential fatty acid, anti-inflammation, factors of your body. And so we have to look at diets as a tool. We don't necessarily need to be thinking about living on a diet forever. Like, I've done keto for up to 200 days, like 222 days or something crazy like that. And I loved it. It was really fun. I went, even to motivate myself even further, like halfway through it, I went to this thing called the KetoCon and spent 36 straight hours like listening to these guys get up, and the women get up on stage and talk about keto. It was like, 36 speakers, 36 hours, and it was like, it's like mental like overload.
Was there a lot of cheese there?
There was half the group. It was interesting. Half the group were the dairy keto people, and half the group were the anti-dairy people. And I found that the healthier group, guess what, were the anti-dairy people. And because the dairy people don't realize they're putting pasteurized junk in their body. They're pasteurizing the cheese, they're pasteurizing the yogurt, they're pasteurizing and homogenizing the milk. And all these pasteurization and homogenation, what it does is it heat treats and basically deforms or mutates the protein or any benefit that it was in there, but it mutates primarily the proteins in milk, and it makes it now an inflammatory foreign body. And when you put enough of that stuff in your body, you will cause your body to start wearing down and wearing out.
Okay, so I'm about to take this cod liver
oil.
Arctic cod liver oil. Should I chew these or swallow these? I remember last time I think I chewed them, right? And they're pretty good that way.
And you can do either, but I like chewing them myself.
Okay, and then we have another question as well before I take these. This just came in from our intern, Maisie. And she said, last year when I lived in a dorm, I practically lived off of ramen noodles. Sounds delicious. And junk food. Oh, man, that sounds like a good time. Because of convenience and because it was very stress-free. Any advice for college students when it comes to grocery shopping or meal prep, maintaining a healthy diet when in college? How do you do it?
Yeah, so, here's the crazy thing about college, right? Like, it's that time. One of my neighbor, one of our best friends, he it just took his daughter to college yesterday and dropped her off. And so we were praying for him. We were talking him through it, oh, are you going to make it, dude? And, because I know it's got to be stressful. He calls me and says, don't let your kids grow up, dude. This is terrible. And I totally get that. And she's going to have to now learn. And I was telling her yesterday before she left that, one of my biggest personal regrets is not having that like kind of college away from home experience. And I don't say it like a regret, like it was the worst thing in the world. I mean, it's the way God had it for us. Because, that was a great time for my mom and I to bond and to work together because my dad had just passed away. And so, there was other factors that really, created a special space for me. But what I can imagine about college is when you're away from home, you're just far enough away where you have to live on your own. You have to learn responsibilities. You have to start appreciating, how to take care of yourself and plan your day and to think through, prioritization and all of a sudden now we got to throw this common denominator in there. And I will tell you that the kids today that are going through college, myself even, I was thankful that my mom taught me how to cook. She goes, I don't ever want you to have to be, living on ramen noodles, and that if that's the diet that you were on. And she goes, I want you to be able to cook something. So I knew how to work the stove. I knew how to work the oven. I knew how to work a pot and a pan. And so, that was a skill set that was taught to me. And I've learned that people never do what they want to do. They just do what they know how to do. And so if you're not taught the skill, then, or if you only know how to work a microwave, then all you'll ever make is microwave-based meals. We don't even have a microwave in my house. The last 2 homes that we've had the good fortune of being able to do some remodeling to the home, and the kitchen was one of those areas. And we purposely took the microwave out of both houses. And so people go, that takes forever. It really doesn't. The only difference is instead of pushing a button and walking away, I stand over it while it's going. And people go, well, that's no fun. I'm like, why not? I get to watch, things happen. And so I think it's a skill set. So for the kids that are going off to college, you have to start going, okay, that's a skill set I want to learn how to do. So get in the kitchen and make a mess. And you'll make a couple messes and screw some stuff up. You'll burn some, meals of sorts. But what you start learning is it's not as daunting as it appears. And so, if you're in a bind at college, I would say, if I was in college, it would be probably vegetables and rotisserie chicken. Like I would either learn to take a chicken on a Saturday or Sunday, throw it in a Dutch oven, throw it in the oven, and I got a bird for the week. I mean, you could eat on that all week long. And then you got good protein for lunch and or dinner or a snack. And that way you're not reaching for the crackers. You're not reaching for the chips. I mean, there's a reason they call it the freshman what?
15.
That's right. The freshman 15, because you're like, oh gosh, like there's mom's not preparing the meal. Dad's not cooking the breakfast, or whatever the appropriate measure is there. And so now you're like on my own. Like, I don't even know how to cook eggs, some people say. I can't even boil a pot of water and throw some eggs in there. And so we've just got to get in there and start messing up. And but with technology today, man, I'd have one of those mini Instapots in my dorm room, because they're not messy. You can't mess it up. You can sneak it in even if they don't let you. Because you're not gonna. It's just easy. All you need is water, and you could throw 3 eggs in, and you and your 2 dorm mates or whatever your situation is got an egg for breakfast in 3 to 5 minutes, done. And it's perfect to perfection every time, and you can't mess it up. And that pressure is wonderful. You can learn how to do. I like this. Yesterday morning, I taught my son Dash how to make French eggs, and he also knows how to make English eggs. And so there's different ways that I've learned how to scramble eggs from my coaches and mentors. Believe it or not, the simple things of the world that we need to learn is how to learn how to the different textures that eggs need to make them fun. That way you don't get bored with them. Right?
I'm still learning how to cook eggs the right way.
All the time, right? And so yesterday, my wife goes, "Can I have what you're having?" Because they only had just eggs. And then I go, "Sure." And so I threw in some smoked turkey, and I threw just not much, just a little, with a banana pepper. And she goes, "Why'd you throw a banana pepper in?" I said, "I don't know, because my mom's coming over today, and I just thought about my mom, and my mom always does this." And I go, this makes me think about my mom, so I just wanted to, make.
Try something.
I wanted to have an egg with banana peppers and turkey, and I was like, "Oh, thank you, Mother, for teaching me such a good task." You know what I mean? And so if I was a college student, I would be playing in the kitchen, not playing in the sorority house. You know what I mean, or the fraternity house. I would, and people would. What would happen is that I would become attractive in the fact that I can cook. You know what I mean? And I would have fun with that. But I'd also know that it's like people say, "Oh, but you've." It's hard to adopt into that, and there's stresses that are involved, of course. But that's where we start learning how to manage the stresses of life, because that's why I think the college experience is such a powerful tool if you get to go away, because you have to figure out how to cook for yourself. You have to figure out how to clean your clothes. You have to figure out how to make sure that they're not overly wrinkled. You know what I mean? So you look relatively professional while you're, going through the school experience. And then when you get out into life, it ain't no different. That's why people wear shirts today that says, "I'm not in the mood to adult today." It's like adult and adulting are now like verbs.
Yeah, it
and,
is.
and adulting is not always easy. Can somebody smash the like button and agree with me? I mean,
agree.
it's absolutely work. And so last night, and I'm sharing these stories because I want you guys to really get it, that like I do play these games like these, and I get out of the tub, and I'm like, oh, I just don't want to take care of my teeth tonight. You know what I mean? Have you ever had that thought?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and some people are like, "Oh, I'm just not going to take care of them. I'm just going to go to bed with dirty teeth." And I'm like, no, it's too easy. Like, take the water pick and water pick your teeth, and you're going to feel so much better afterwards, And so I water picked, I flossed real quick, and brushed, and I was done. I was over. And then I went and got to read books to my kids and have some conversation. But I literally had that thought, oh, there's so much to do. I don't even feel like taking care of my teeth. That's just such a dumb thing. But if we can, it's the daily disciplines. It's the daily, action that you take every day. That's why what you eat's important, but what you
don't eat
is more important. We've got to look at the diets as a tool. So whether you're on Whole30 right now, or you're on the high metabolism diet, or you're on the low carb diet, the no grain diet, the Dr. Chapa diet, the yellow diet, the cleanse diet. I've got diets coming out my ears. And why do I use all those?
It's a tool.
It's a tool, and I don't want to get bored. You know what I mean? And so then I use all the supplements as tools.
Yeah.
And the supplements in today's world are an absolute must. They're like foundational supplements, right? That's what they need to be called, not just supplements. Because in the olden days, maybe in the 70s, maybe supplements were truly supplementing. Today, they're filling a void. They're supplementing even a little bit more than just supplementing. Because a cup of spinach today is equivalent. A cup of spinach in the 20s is equivalent to about 65 cups of spinach today. It's nuts. Mm-hmm. Our mineral concentration, going back to that mineral conversation again, if you don't have adequate minerals, and you do not if you're just relying on your diet, and if you're only relying on cooked food for your diet, because you do lose some of these things, and your mineral load is low. And without a healthy mineral base, you can't have good health. And so there's tests that we do in the office to manage and support a healthy adrenal system. We look at urine tests to measure different types of hormonal metabolites, different cortisol balance and ratios. We do saliva tests for these things to see what the hormone status of the body is doing. We can track it on a graph, as opposed to just getting a cortisol test at noon on the most stressful day of my life. For some reason, today was that day, right? And you go in and get the blood test done, and it was a stressful day. And of course, the doctor sees it's high. No, we don't want that. What we want to do is to see, what was your stress in the morning? What was your stress at lunch? What was your stress at dinner? What was your stress at bedtime? And we see this curve, and we can see where your stress curve is, and we can determine, it's only one day. There's not a lot of way to do, encompassing tests. There's snapshots in time. And that's why testing isn't always our first line of defense. I can listen to your symptoms. Jennifer can listen to your symptoms. Dr. Amber can listen to your symptoms, and we can find a place to start and save you the cost of diagnostics. Because a lot of times people are going through the diagnostic, rigmarole, looking for answers to problems they don't have. And because they're not problems yet. They're just functional glitches. And we can fix a functional glitch very easily with dietary and supplemental intervention. But knowing that your diet is not going to supply you with all the things that you need day in and day out in today's modern society, because most people are eating out all day long. Most people aren't getting 6 to 11 servings of fruits and vegetables day in and day out. They're eating the wrong food groups. Somebody sent me this message the other day, and they were telling me about this disorder where people, they over-restrict their diet, and it's to an unhealthy state. And I'm like, okay, anything in excess could definitely be a problem. Well, they go, what about dairy? And I go, well, who says dairy is a food group? You know what I mean? Like, find me another species that agrees with us that dairy is a food group. No other species consumes milk from the bosom of another species other than humans. And so I'm not convinced that that is the right answer. And then we go as far as ruining the dairy by homogenizing and pasteurizing. Then we put these cancer-causing chemicals in the cows to make sure that Elsie can produce 10 times the amount of milk that she's allowed to produce according to her natural stance. We have to hormonally induce her. And so these now are driving estrogens up in our body. Well, that's why we see breast cancer running like crazy, or estrogen-based cancers. And these are things, and I also say that's why we're also seeing testosterone in men, drop rapidly. And it has a lot to do with the diet, has a lot to do with the mental, emotional, physical stresses that we're dealing with. And then and all those things compounding is restricting blood flow to our visceral organs. And when our digestive tract doesn't have good blood flow, we don't have good, healthy gut microbiome, a gut microecology. There's millions, trillions of bugs in your digestive tract. And if those millions and trillions of bugs are unhealthy or unbalanced in their ratios, all of a sudden you are more prone to illnesses. Your first line of defense, your floating immune system is down. You're penetratable from the outside world. And guys, with all the kids starting school back, mark my words, you're going to start seeing colds pop up like crazy because all the kids are going back into these schools that have been kind of, dusty, so to speak, and enclosed, and they're not going to be as active as they were, and they are not going to be drinking water enough, and most of them are probably going to be constipated, and they're going to be eating fast food, junk food, all the garbage that, I hate to say the schools offer, but I'm just going to say it, and fake food.
Yeah, what can we do to help prevent that? My son just started back at school yesterday.
Yeah, so I give my kids every day Congoplex, and Congoplex is basically calcium, magnesium. It is a tool to support thymic production of T cells. It is a brain support that will help the immune system and the brain communicate and recognize foreign bodies coming down the pike. And it also has vitamin A and vitamin C in it that strengthen the gut lining. It's one pill. And so what kid doesn't need calcium, magnesium to grow? You know what I mean?
Right.
What kid doesn't need a strong immune system whenever they're picking boogers and, digging, picking stuff off the ground and eating it, what kid doesn't need a healthy gut lining, and so this one product, Congoplex, has the ability to support all of those needs in the body. And I just have been using it for years, and I stand behind it. I think it's one of the easiest things we can do. You could supplement your kid with cod liver oil and Congoplex walking out the door, as well as yourself. Be the lead learner and do it together, and then send a lunch with them. So teach them how to. It's like that whole what Maisie was alluding to earlier. Let's start teaching them to recognize real food. Because, dude, they're going to go to school and they're going to see the chocolate chip cookies. I mean, it's hard to walk past. My daughter got some gluten-free, dairy-free Oreos, in her little lunch today. It's not like she goes without, right? But they also had water bottles in hand. They also had, turkey sandwich, with a gluten-free piece of bread. I saw a few vegetables. I even saw a peach go in somebody's bag. You know what I mean? They had real food. And so I'm like, cool, could it be better even than that? Yeah, it could, but they're kids. So I don't want it to be so hard that they're going to be, throwing it away and going hungry all day.
Do you let them be involved in that lunch picking and process? That could make it fun. Like, hey, I want a peach. Yeah, let's get a peach.
That's absolutely. So at first, when they're really little, you got to make it for them. But you could talk to them, say, look, little Johnny, we're going to put this in your lunch today, and you can have this when you're playing with so-and-so. And then, look, little Johnny, you can... You know what I mean? And you're hey, which one do you want? You want this one or this one? And you start, giving them options to get involved in the kitchen. And you're starting to acclimate them to the surroundings of this is a kitchen.
Healthy or healthier?
Yeah, healthier or healthier. Yeah, healthy or healthier. We look for healthier or healthier options. And we start teaching them, all right, when you go to school today, these are your cookies. These are going to be cookies that are going to make you still continue to grow strong. We're going to avoid these things, And I remember when I was going to school, there was soda machines and all kinds of stuff. And but this is the world that we're living in. We're infiltrated with fake food, make-believe food, and the best thing you'll ever get if you eat make-believe food is
make-believe health.
That's right. And we don't want make-believe health for our kids. We want them to be strong, vibrant little souls running around feeling good, living good, making good grades, being proud of their work, and enrolling them in the process. And that's just how we help them to become functional, involved, humans. And I just get excited about the work that I do, because it doesn't matter. Like, today we're kind of talking to this idea of like anxiety and depression, and you can see that it's very encompassing. I mean, it's not just one thing. Like, anxiety is just your symptom. It's not the underlying root cause of your problem. It's what you're currently dealing with, and it's what steps do you start taking to make your digestive tract healthier, so that you can absorb and digest and absorb the food that you're consuming more efficiently. What supplements do you take? Is it going to be just simply fat-soluble B vitamins, vitamin C, vitamin A, to feed the adrenals? How are you going to stimulate the adrenals and make sure they got adequate fats or adequate minerals? And these are all the things that Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center is going to teach you. And so we always encourage people, give us a call, 281-554-8600, and let us be a part of your health journey. And we will teach you how to be healthy. And then that's should ultimately through your actions, because kids will always do what you do. They will rarely do what you tell them to do, I hate to say. And so we always want to get involved from the front. And this is being healthy is a daily decision. It's a daily task. You're one bite away from slipping down the slippery slope. You're one bite away from climbing the mountain of good health and having longevity, where you can be 77, 120, fully functional in spirit, mind, and body, dancing and having fun and living the dream, or I hate to say, drooling and in diapers, you know what I mean, and not being real cognizant of what's going on around you. And that's a sad way to think about that your life would turn out, with all the potential that you have currently in your possession.
Right now it's 9:42. This is KHEA Radio.com, 99.5 FM. We're talking to Dr. Aaron Chapa. We talk to Dr. Chapa on Tuesdays, and we like to answer your questions. Today we've been talking about anxiety and depression and what you can do to prevent that. And then also we were able to touch on, postpartum. What does that mean? Like, what happens postpartum depression? How do you handle that? What can you do to prevent that? Here's something else that I had asked Dr. Chapa. So my throat has been bugging me a little bit. Go figure. And so he recommended some things. So I've taken my Arctic cod liver oil. I actually did my herbal throat spray already. And then there is one left, which we touched on a little bit. And I think on the back it says a serving size is 4. Reacted Multi-Min, which stands for, it's a multi-mineral.
Yeah.
So could I knock out 4 of these right now?
You could totally do that. And here's the thing. So you always want to look at, like, if we're just looking at simple, like if I could talk to corporate America, I would put money on the idea that if I could get people doing one of my multivitamins, one of my multi-minerals, and my essential fatty acids, that they would have less sick days, more productive days, and more good, good vibes walking around, floating around their community culture that they're trying to create in the office, than they would have had in previous years not doing this kind of good work for their people. And it does start with food. Like when people say, well, food can't affect anxiety, it can't affect, depression. I just say, well, it's okay that, I appreciate you just don't know what you don't know. You haven't seen what I've seen, like I haven't seen what you've seen, and you probably know stuff that I don't know, right? But like when you put inflammation or something that's going to create inflammation into your body, into your digestive tract, and you disrupt the ecology of the bowel, it disrupts the efficiency of the brain, because there's 3 million more neurotransmitters in your digestive tract than there is in your brain. And these neurotransmitters are vital chemicals that allow your brain to function well and to allow digestion to happen well. One of your cranial nerves, cranial nerve 10, is heavily involved in all of digestive, visceral organ, abdominal systems. And it's mind-blowing how much neurological activity is floating in and around the digestive tract. You have all this giant apron-like structure called a mesentery that's loaded with nervous system, and we just think it's a piece of fat, adipose tissue, and we don't appreciate. No, there's a lot of stuff going on in there, and the reason there's a lot going on there is because there's a lot going on behind there in the stomach, in the liver, in the gallbladder, in the duodenum, in the jejunum, in the ileum, in the cecum, in the large intestine. why would there be all these different names to these different parts of your alimentary tract, your mouth to hiney tract?
I'm convinced you made up all those names except for large intestine.
And maybe I did. No, but this is all your anatomy. Like, why would there be, anatomy names for all these different structures if there wasn't some purpose? Like, for example, your stomach. Your stomach is heavily involved in protein digestion, and it's at the top of your digestive tract. It's the first place that food gets down to once through the esophagus, right? But in a cow, the alimentary tract is very different. It's loaded full of bacteria in the top end, where ours is loaded up full of acid on the top end. And so cows are not carnivores. What are they? They're herbivores.
Eat grass.
They eat grass.
Yeah.
What's the old thing? We're going to sit around and we're going to chew the cud,
yeah.
right? And when we're chewing the cud, what's actually happening with, in a cow is the cow is chewing, and then they stuff it down in one of their many stomachs, and then the bacteria break it down further, and then it comes back up into their mouth and they chew the cud. And so that sounds kind of gross, but that's the way the cow system is set up. Ours doesn't do that. If you're regurgitating your food back in your mouth, you got a problem. You need to come see me. I got some answers for you. And that's a topic for another day. But here's the thing. You have an acid stomach, and that's the first place, and that breaks down the protein, and it kills bugs and bacterium and pathogens that might be coming down on the lettuce leaf that you're eating, and the acid will basically protect you and start the digestive process after you've chewed on it. And then it goes into your large intestine, where you start absorbing quite a bit of, the electrolytes and the minerals that you're going to get, the vitamins and the fats from the food sources that you ate. And I mean, right in this duodenum area, it looks like a little C. The liver's communicating with it, the pancreas is communicating with it, and there's all these little like tubules that are bringing enzymes in there, and enzymes to break down the carb, enzymes to break down the fat, and that absorption of those nutrients is happening right up in the upper aspects of your digestive tract. And then it goes into the jejunum, where more absorption is happening, and there's the process of breaking down food continues to break down. You've got almost 25 feet of digestive tract, in your tissues, in your abdomen, and it's quite amazing when you take a piece of yarn and roll out, that length and say, "Wow, that's tied up inside me. That's a lot of tubage." And then it goes into then it gets all the way down into the cecum and to the large ascending, transverse, and descending colon, and that's where your bacteria is. So it's like our bodies is completely flip-flopped, and that's where and not that there's not bacteria in the other spots, it's just not as much in concentration. But every aspect of your GI tract, your liver tract, your pancreatic tract, is all focused on one thing: taking things a chicken leg that you're eating and converting it into, or a carrot, whatever it is you're eating right now, that you are going to convert it into something so microscopic that you cannot see it with your eyes, and it's going to traverse across this cellular membrane that is loaded with good healthy that are made up of good healthy fats, and it's going to go into the blood supply. It's going to register inside of a taxi cab. It's got its own assigned seat, and it's going to then take a ride to a destination far, far away, and it's going to turn on a regenerative, restorative, immunological, protective system in your body to help you stay alert, help you fight off the common cold, help you restore, recover, regenerate, help you have stronger muscles, help you live long and prosperous all the days of your life, help you think clear and work clear and read clear, and it fascinates me. It fascinates me how God has intricately designed each one of these little pieces to do a specific job in our body, and I just get excited about it, and I just can't wait to share it with the world. And that's why I love being on the show. That's why I love being here with you, and I love all y'all's questions and just being able to share the insights that God has allowed me to learn about food, because food matters. It absolutely matters. It will affect your heart. It will affect your brain. It will affect your emotions. It'll affect every aspect of your day. And so I want you to choose well. I want you to live well, one bite at a time.
So there's a couple more questions that we have. This one's actually from my wife, and she must be talking about Kellen, my son. So the question is, and I'll read it exactly, what do you suggest for a child in school who doesn't want to eat breakfast? Because they say it's the most important meal of the day, and I know we've had conversations about this before, and it really is important.
Right. So we find things, right? So I use a paleo protein powder. You could use maybe a protein shake, or I have this one that's flavorless, and you can make him little gluten-free pancakes, right? And you could put some of this flavorless protein powder that's literally just amino acids. And if you're baking a cake, you could throw some of this protein powder in there. It's amino acids. You're giving the building blocks for a healthy, metabolism, a healthy foundation for good health. And so you start sneaking stuff in his food.
Yeah.
Or get him enrolled into the cooking process. Get him to help you make an egg. Show him like what it looks like going into the Instapot and open an egg beforehand, and then make it a science project.
What about like those I remember being a kid and it was like Carnation instant breakfast. And I know it probably isn't the healthy option, but to me, I'm like, yes, I would love to start my day with chocolate milk, and it got something in there. That's what I always thought it was.
Yeah. So you start playing that game, and you start looking at, all right, well, what are some things I could do to get him to indulge, right? And so, obviously, we don't do dairy in our house, so almond milk options, they still get cereal. But I'm not, necessarily saying that that's a good place to start, but but getting food in their digestive tract, if they won't do anything, you start where they're at, with modification. I mean, you're not going to just let them eat donuts. Like maybe let's try different types of, food substrates, and let's get creative. And so, but protein shakes are a huge and easy thing my kids like to do for breakfast at times. I mean, and I can't tell you how now they make their own shakes. I mean, but for a while there, every day, every month, we'd have shakes. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 bites of eggs. Like we just get something in the system. We're just training that system to eat. And it's like, in a little bit, you're just training a habit. Because people say, oh, I can't drink water in the morning. It makes me nauseous. Well, that means that your body's toxic, okay? If food makes you nauseous in the morning, you have toxicity. You have blood sugar imbalances. And so we could start with just a piece of toast and a peanut butter if that's where you're going to start. Do I like that? No, I mean, we could do better.
Something.
But we start where you're at. And so instead of buying just any old peanut butter, we're going to get one with no high fructose corn syrup.
Man, I've had those before, Dr. Chapa, and I'm not going to lie. Like, I was like, are y'all sure this is peanut butter? I bought it from the store, and it was like unsweetened, natural, just peanut. It's not I'm not even going to say a brand, but what I grew up having is peanut butter and loving. I was like, this looks like something totally different, which is crazy.
It looks different, and it does taste different. But here's what I can tell you is that the nutrient density is different also. So so we just have to recognize that the stuff that you and I both, because I grew up on the same stuff. I used to eat 6, 7 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches a day, man, and that was probably why I had high blood pressure. I had cholesterol issues. I had an allergy to like eggs, and I had I was overweight, about 55 pounds or so, and I mean I had a bunch of stuff going on, and so it wasn't the peanuts necessarily that were messing me up. It was the high fructose corn syrup. It was the type of oil that was used, the partially hydrogenated cottonseed oil that was in there that clogged my system up and started making me have symptoms. And so there's brands out there, and you got to find the brand that your family will indulge. We love Justin's brand out, honestly, is a great brand. They have a hazelnut butter. They have it's like chocolate hazelnut. It's like a piece of heaven. But I will make a suggestion, though. If you are using some of the gluten-free options or some of these frozen bread options, please, please, please put it in a skillet with some butter.
The bread?
The bread.
Huh.
Warm it up with butter, real butter, like Kerrygold butter.
Can we use cinnamon?
And cinnamon, yeah, absolutely.
Keep going.
And yeah,
Do I turn
love you. That's so awesome. And you start to melt the butter into the bread. And the cinnamon over the top of it, and all of a sudden, the bread just with the butter alone, I can only imagine the cinnamon sounds kind of good.
Yeah,
let's go do it. And it starts to take on a flavor that it had that the company knew would have, but they froze it. And once they freeze it, it's kind of like cardboard, right? And then you thaw it out, and but it's still hard. And you're like, this stuff ain't no
The
good.
scale of butter
That's
brings
right.
it back, huh?
But the butter and the heat turn that back into something that will last till lunch. And I'm telling you, it will taste good again. And then you spread your healthy peanut butter of choice or almond butter of choice or your hazelnut butter of choice over that, and all of a sudden now you're like, hey, this is like your son will start to look forward to something he likes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
And so you and then you start building that habit. And then every now and again you sneak something in there like, hey, today we're gonna do eggs. Oh, okay, so here's how I do eggs. Check
He always
this
says
out.
he doesn't want eggs, and then he sees my eggs, and he's like, I
Eating
think I want
some.
eggs.
I want some eggs. Yeah. So so my daughter yesterday sees my eggs, and she wanted my eggs with the turkey and the banana pepper in there, and she got like 3 or 4 bites and hers, right? So she got some of my flavor in with her flavor, and she's starting to realize, hey, these are pretty good. Variety's cool. The other thing I love to do with kids, because what kid doesn't love French toast?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, smash your little like button if your kids love French toast. I mean, I love some French toast. And so what we do is I take the eggs and I put cinnamon in the eggs. I put vanilla in the eggs. Throw a pat of butter in the skillet on low heat because you don't want to burn up the butter too much.
Mm-hmm.
And then you put the eggs on top of that. No bread. And it tastes just like French toast. And it's
Wow.
and I know you're like, what? Who would have thunk it?
I'd try it.
And I'm telling you, put a little vanilla, a little cinnamon to taste, and just like you would make French toast, and just leave out the toast, and you will be pleasantly surprised. And it's just these are like the tricks of the trade in the Choppa House,
So we're almost out of time. There was one more question. You made a comment earlier about spinach, and I think you said, was it about 60? Like back in
Yeah, the 1920s or so. The average one cup of spinach back then is worth approximately 65 cups of spinach today. And so
in nutritional value.
and nutritional value and minerals and whatever spinach has to offer us, right? All the different things. And so and I always like the analogy because I like to play devil's advocate a little bit. Like, what if, that just seems pretty extreme to me. You know what I mean? But what if the stat was only half right? You know what I mean? So like 1 cup in the 20s is 35 cups of spinach. Or are we going to rush right out and go after the show, eat 35 cups of spinach so we can, get our daily allotment of nutritional value?
I don't have that time. I can't. It's a lot of spinach. I'd turn into Popeye maybe. That'd be cool.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I'd be interested if that was the result, But no. So the reality is even if the stat was wrong and it was half right, that still is proving the point that, okay, this is a problem that we have to address. We've got to supplement. We've got to take better inventory of what we're putting on our body in the form of real food versus fake food, because we don't want to have make-believe health, and that's what you're going to get if you're eating all the make-believe food.
Yes, sir. That makes sense. It's 9:58. I know you'll have an event coming up. Is it tonight?
It
Can
is
you
tonight.
remind?
Yep. So tonight at 6:30, we're going to be talking about foundations of health, and that's at our office, and that's in League City, Texas, 518 East Main Street, and we invite you to come and be a part. Bring a member with you. We'd love to meet you and your family. We want to know, what's going on in your world. You're going to love the event. We're very excited about being able to consistently every month bring a topic of health to you. And this is what Living Well, again, is here to do, is we're trying to educate people how and to make good strides, positive strides, easy, functional strides forward towards good health. And that's what Living Well stands for, is helping to make the complex of the world, the busy of the world, seem a little less daunting when it comes to, can I have good health and be a productive member of society? And so Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center is firm believer that all life starts and stops at the cellular level. Nutrition is the foundational, fundamental backbone that allows your body to either spiral out of control or get traction and start climbing towards great health. And we want you to be on that journey. And it is a climb, it is a grind, but we make it fun. And we want you to know that you can do it. We believe in you. We know beyond a shadow of a doubt that our team is well equipped and ready for whatever you're going to throw at us. And we will have some, fun in the process as we go, as learning what your chemistry is going to throw at us in, working your case over. And so each one of us are uniquely bioidentical, not bioidentical. We're just unique creatures. And everybody needs a little something different. So we build, customized programs to help you live better, be better, and stay better. And so give us a call, 281-554-8600, or visit our website at justlivewell.com, justlivewell.com. And I hope that you guys have a blessed and wonderful day, and we'll check you next week.
You're listening to KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. We're going to take a quick break on the FM. It is 10 o'clock, and we're excited that you took the opportunity to tune in this morning. We're going to be talking to the Birthday Joy program next, which if you've heard us talk to the Birthday Joy program, you're going to want to stay tuned, see how you can get involved. If you haven't, I promise this is something that you're going to want to be involved in after you hear exactly what they have going on. Local kids in our area. Coming up next, we have some Corey Asbury, Endless Hallelujah on KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. Thank you, Dr. Chapa.
It's a pleasure, dude.
So how so with these supplements for my voice, should I take the suggested serving in the morning and then do this as needed?
Yeah, 3-3. I would do 4-4, and then I would do as needed throughout the day. And that there might be some other things we got to throw at you, but I really think we'll get you back on point. Because this has been going on for 2 weeks now.
Yeah, a couple weeks. Yeah.
And
so I've been someone pointed out to me that I'm intermittent fasting, so I'm not eating till 1 o'clock. And before that, I was eating, I'd eat something for breakfast, something small or just something to get in my system. And today's Monday. So it'll be a month that I've been intermittent fasting at the end of this week. And that's really the only difference. I mean, I talk a lot.
Right.
I talk a lot. I sing multiple times a week, and it's a lot, I think, on my voice, but I've been doing that for
and you do all the appropriate warm-ups, and you do all, you're not just going up there jamming out a tune, right?
But I'm punk rock, Dr. Chapa.
But you got to remember, you're in the great circle with the rest of us, and everybody feels and believes they're, immortal right up until they realize they're not,
Yeah.
And so I'm always, this morning I didn't want to get up at 5 to go to the gym because, I have to get up earlier to if I want to do a gym workout. But I feel so much better whenever I, go to the gym and do something, even for 30 minutes. You don't have to make exercise hard. We can talk about that another time. And, but I find that, I didn't want to get up, but it's that daily discipline. Yeah. And when I'm in the gym, I'm doing specific things. I'm not just in there aimlessly exercising.
Targeting.
I'm doing eye exercises. I'm waking up my nervous system. I'm preparing to be 125, fully functional in spirit, mind, and body at 40.
That's awesome.
So anyway,
is that event tonight going to be live streamed or broadcast anywhere?
It will more than likely be on Facebook, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, yeah. So be on the lookout for that. Maybe call Dr. Chapa's office, and you'll be able to find out that information. Give him a call.
All right, guys. Blessings.
Dr. Chapa, thank you.
Yep. We'll talk soon, bud.
All right, next, the Birthday Joy program. This is one of my favorite, nonprofits and programs that I've ever had the opportunity to talk to. What they do is they throw birthday parties for kids who are living in care of the government. They've been taken away from their families for different reasons, and what they do is they go in and throw birthday parties. They'll go in once a month to these different facilities. All the kids who have an August birthday party, they are getting that celebration, which is nice. It's important. I remember being a kid, and those were some of the most special times of my life. Those are things that I remember. I still remember a toy that I got. I remember in second grade, I got at a birthday party, I got an Aladdin. It was the genie, which is cool that, the movie just came out again for Aladdin, and I went and saw it because I enjoyed the cartoon, and I remember I had an Aladdin, like the genie, an action figure, and it was one of my favorite things. So we have a special guest in studio, and she's with the Birthday Joy program. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for making time. I know you're busy. There's a lot of stuff always going on, but
Always.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me. We love coming down.
I saw Anthony Tupper. He had shared it out. So Tupper Martial Arts.
Tupper Martial Arts.
That they had done a party for you guys, I believe. Are they going to be doing some?
Actually, Tupper Martial Arts is going to be providing martial arts classes to some of the foster group home shelters that we serve at. We were blessed with a grant recently that is specifically for extracurricular activities for foster children. And Tupper Martial Arts, we're going to have them come in and teach martial arts classes at these shelters because, those kids are not able to go to taekwondo class on Wednesday afternoons after school, that sort of thing. And so that's just part of normalcy as a kid going to swimming lessons or football practice or karate classes. And so Tupper Martial Arts will be coming out on Wednesdays during the school year, after school, and teaching. So we're super excited.
How often?
They're going to come once a week.
Oh, wow.
On
That's
Wednesdays
awesome.
during the school year. And so the kids can even advance in their belts.
I was going to say, if you're doing that much training, then you are going to learn. You're going to be advanced and get belts and everything. That's awesome. How cool.
So we're super excited to be partnering with them and just so thankful for this grant.
So cool.
It's called the Foster Joy Fund, and that grant came out of Clear Creek Community Church. They've been real good to us, and we're just excited to get started with that.
All right, so here's what we're going to do. There's a song going on right now. We're going to wait, and I'm going to pull it out, and we're going to go on the FM as well. We'll get you reintroduced, and I'm going to ask you to just share, if somebody's never heard of the Birthday Joy program, what it is. So
all right.
We're going to do that right now. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. It is 10:05 a.m. here in Galveston County. We're broadcasting live from Lamarck, Texas, and we have a special guest in studio. I'm going to let you introduce yourself and then say what organization you are with, what do y'all do?
Okay, so my name is Noni Fairchild. I am the founder and program director for the Birthday Joy program. We are a 501c3 nonprofit, and we basically throw birthday parties. And our service area is Galveston, Harris, and Brazoria counties. And our birthday parties are focused primarily on children that are in the care of CPS. We also assist low-income families as well, but we are just throwing birthday parties every month, all the time. The concept is to instill a sense of self-worth and a feeling of hope to those children. We know that kids that are in the foster care system are 4 times more likely to become victims of trafficking because they lack that self-worth, that self-respect, understanding of healthy adult-child interactions. And so we really want to combat those statistics, and we just happen to do that through birthday celebrations.
So school has started for most of the kids around us, and that, what does that mean for these kids who are in CPS care? It's the same. They go back to school too, right?
They go back to school. They're like kids like everyone else, but a lot of them are starting schools in unfamiliar environments because they probably have maybe recently been moved into care.
Yeah.
And so their whole world is turned upside down, and they're feeling very different. They don't feel like regular kids. And that's another aspect of having a birthday party, is just something that happens in your childhood. You have a birthday party, your friends are there, everyone sings happy birthday to you. That's just typical childhood memories. Unfortunately, for a lot of the kids that we serve, they've never had a birthday before.
They've never had a birthday party at all.
No.
So I know we've talked about this, but why did you feel compelled? Why did you feel called to start the Birthday Joy program?
Sometimes when people ask me that, all I can say is it was a God thing. I really wanted to serve in the area of these children that have experienced abuse and trauma in their lives. I've always been super active with my kids and their school events, and this was an opportunity to get involved with kids that are in need. My kids were completely spoiled. I mean, huge birthdays all the time, great celebrations, but not every kid has that experience. So
what y'all do is y'all are a nonprofit. Y'all go to these different. Is it called a shelter or like a CPS? What is it called?
And most of the times they just refer to them as a large group foster home.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are more short term, like 30 to 90 days. There are some large group foster homes that the kids can stay at for years. And sometimes they also transition into adoption, or they'll go back home. So it just depends on their court case, the situation.
Yeah, and the goal for these kids, I get, at least the government and the facilities, is hopefully get the home so that back in order so they can go be with their family if it's a safe environment, right?
It's always the goal to reunify them with their families. If their folks can get their lives in order, then they will go home. But sometimes families are so dysfunctional and sick that the kids can't go home. So on top of being removed and put in this situation that is unfamiliar with strangers they don't know, then over time they eventually lose all contact, all connection with their biological family, and that's a loss. It's like a death.
Yeah, so that's a reality to a lot of these kids, and they may just bounce around from home to home or inside of someone's house or shelter to shelter. Or
they can go, and be in several different placements, 4 to 7 different times in their childhood. So
yeah,
that's a difficult thing to face, and they feel very not typical.
Yeah,
not normal.
And how so I know y'all have like a bunch of needs. Y'all are a nonprofit. There's a bunch of ways for people to get involved.
Mm-hmm.
How can they get involved?
Well, we love volunteers, and so if you go to our Facebook page, the Birthday Joy Program on Facebook, or if you send us an email at the Birthday Joy Program at Yahoo, you can inquire about volunteering at some of our birthday parties. We love to have groups. We have moms groups, Bible study groups that come out and volunteer at those parties. But we also always have a need for party supplies, whether it's cake mix, tubs of frosting, plates, napkins, birthday banners. We always have a need for that. We also always have a need for new toys because we go through so many. We celebrate between 80 and 100 birthdays every month.
Wow.
And so you can imagine how incredibly fast we go through things. But we do have something new that's just a way for folks to help get involved. And
yeah, let me see that. I saw that over there.
I brought it.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So you know what? It's just a collection jar. Look at that right there. I'll give it to you. It just says pennies for parties, and it's got a few pictures of the kids at the birthday parties. But we're looking for local businesses to let us place those in their stores at the cash register. People are always dropping their loose change in those penny cans. We would love it if they would put it in the pennies for parties jar, but also even at home. If you all or like my husband, he's always emptying his pants pockets every day he gets home. And it's a great place. Just dump that extra change. We come and pick it up on a monthly basis, empty it. And that's a way to get involved. You'd be surprised how quickly it adds up. We would love to canvass the Bay Area with those pennies for parties jars.
So we just had a question on our text line, and they asked, hey, where can we donate items? Is there a permanent drop-off, or is there somewhere currently?
So there is a drop-off at our office, and we are just off of NASA Parkway. The address is 18096 Kings Row, and the office actually faces NASA Parkway. And we are inside the State Farm office there on Kings Row, and we are in the office Monday through Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So you're welcome to come and just drop stuff off. And you can also send us a text and ask us to come pick up on Monday mornings. We have a volunteer who drives all over the area, and she will come to your home and pick up between 9 and 11 a.m. So just send us a text. It's 281-703-1843. And our driver on Monday would be happy to come by and pick up from your home if you can't make it to the office.
All right. So if you know a local business, or maybe you have one and you want to put these up in your spot, then you can do that. And I think this is great. So Pennies for Parties help the Birthday Joy program. And I love, there's some pictures of some kids, and they have some huge smiles on their faces. And these are kids that are local from our area that haven't had, the easiest start. And that's tough. And we need to make a difference. This is our job.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we're so blessed. We have so much. And this is our most vulnerable population. And they deserve it, and they need it.
Yeah, there's, a thought that I was thinking here a bit ago. And I think we've touched on this before. But Are there some kids, that may be new to being in the group place, and it's still like their first time to ever have a birthday party just because of, the upbringing so far in their life?
Right. It is. We've come into to one of the group homes before, and we've had 14 and 15-year-olds who have never been to a birthday party, never had one of their own, never been invited to one. And staff is having to explain to them, this is what happens at a birthday party. The happy birthday song is sang, and we eat cake and ice cream and play games. And it's a completely foreign concept. And to be the star of the party and have everyone sing to you and have this huge birthday card signed by everyone. I mean, the kids are just, the smiles, the excitement, it just sticks with you forever. That's why our volunteers come back, because they have this amazing experience seeing these kids be celebrated. And so we do have so many volunteers that come back on a monthly basis.
Mm-hmm. And I believe that we wrote down and we were going to share out that address one more time. Could you say it one more time?
Sure.
Please?
So it's 18096 Kings Row, and it's Suite H, but it's the State Farm office.
All right. So if you want to drop off some items, I believe in normal business hours, Monday through Friday, that's available.
Yep, 10 to 2.
And then there's also that phone number. What's that number one more time? You can text that or call?
Yep, 281-703-1843. And that's for Monday morning pickups from your home.
Wow. And how can somebody find y'all on social media?
So you can find us on Facebook and just type in the Birthday Joy Program. We'll come right up. We're also on Instagram, TBJPTX.
Cool. And y'all are doing some big things, and I'm excited for this, and hopefully this will spread some awareness of what you guys are doing. I believe, it's a great program that I fully endorse and want to see more people know about it and get involved so we can help these local kids who they just want to feel normal. That's all we want, is just to fit in and be normal.
They want to be able to just be normal and feel like every other kid, and just having the pictures from their birthday. I mean, you see parents always posting pictures from their child's birthday parties on Facebook. We always bring a Polaroid camera to the parties, because how else will these kids mark their birthday parties? And so we are constantly taking pictures of the kids at the party so that they are able to keep that physical memory, memento from the parties, and that's a really big deal for them.
Yeah, and if you have an idea, maybe you want to get involved, feel free to reach out to us. We'll get you in contact with Noni. We'll get you in contact with the Birthday Joy Program, but it's also good just to reach out directly, as that address has been put in. And yeah, I know we shared that phone number a couple other times, but you'll be able to have the opportunity to text and call it and find out. Just search. Go like the Birthday Joy Program on Facebook, and then you can get involved. Get involved and volunteer. That's the easiest way. If somebody's like, hey, I'm not sure what I can commit, maybe I don't have money, I mean, even better would be just time,
just
right?
your time, and a lot of people are thinking, oh, I've got kids and it's just hard for me to get away. Our organization is unique in the sense that you can bring your kids and volunteer with them. It's a wonderful opportunity to teach your children about service to others. There's nothing more amazing than seeing kids helping kids. And so it's completely appropriate to bring your children to the birthday parties and have them volunteer with you.
Yeah, and I feel like right now with school going back, I know for me and my family, it gets, the hustle and bustle, the routine. I got to go school shopping, we need this and everything else. And you get so centered on the stuff that needs to get done, and it takes a lot of time. But I'm so excited and happy that we were able to bring you in today.
Yeah, thank you.
To remind people that there's a whole world out there that is what we should be doing. It's the right thing to do.
It is. It's the right thing to do. And, it's healthy for you. When you give back to others, it's an amazing feeling that you can carry with you. It changes your outlook on things, helps you appreciate what you do have. But also at the same time, these children are receiving a feeling of hope and knowing and learning that there are good people out there that care. And so it's a win-win for everybody involved.
It is. Is there anything else you'd like to share while you're here today?
Just make sure to text us or give us a call. We'd love to get these pennies for party jars out all over the area. We are almost totally out of toys again. It seems like I say that all the time, but y'all, we need gifts so badly. So if you see things, things on clearance from 1-year-old to 18, we're celebrating birthdays, and we could really use your help.
All right. So reach out, vote free to see how you can get involved. I think we may have a question. Do you still have an Amazon wish list for the Birthday Joy program?
We sure do. We do have an Amazon wish list, and it's broke down from toys for gifts and also goodie bag items as well. So we do have a wish list, and you can also do the Amazon Smile, and a portion of your purchase goes back to the Birthday Joy program.
All right. Well, thank you for hanging out with us today.
Thank you. We'll love coming down here, so thank you for having us.
And you're welcome back anytime.
Thanks.
Yeah. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM.